Hey, nice if I had the mic going for you. Try that again. If you are on Facebook, please go ahead and join or get to streamyard.com/Facebook so I can see your comments. Sorry about that. Let's see. Just letting a couple more people come in. Looks like we got some people. And on Instagram, I make sure I got this little thing aimed. It's always an interesting combo to find where I'm going to sit. So how was your day 10? How did it go for you? Did we have some, anybody have some interesting dreams? That was a really powerful meditation in the end. I'm always so kind of just blissed out at the end there, so I don't get to really express what it was like for me, but it was a pretty beautiful experience yesterday. So I'm glad to come back and do it again. Day number 11. Today is the beautiful Tourmaline. Change this up for you all. I'll bring a picture in while we can let some more people come on in the room. Let's see, share screen. Come on in, guys. And here's the Tourmaline. All right. Very raw. It's a very raw form of Tourmaline. 2 pieces right there. Talk a little bit about what is all in there. You could see this. So Tourmaline is probably one of the most multicolored stones. I want to say it may actually be the most multicolored stone, meaning there's very many colors available. So we're going to focus on the black tourmaline because that is the one that is most used, most familiar, but I will kind of run over some of the other colors as well. I have a couple of colored ones to share with you as well. So let me get a drink of water. But again, yeah, let me know how it was last night. I had a great night's sleep. That's for sure. Excuse me. All right. Okay. Feeling very grounded today. I've been spending a lot of time with the Tourmaline. I actually, sounds weird, but I do sleep with these. Don't get crazy. I literally put a piece of them under my pillow, especially for these experiences, to kind of integrate more with them, find out what messages they want to come through. So we had some really interesting messages come through, and it was just a very deep message. So I'm feeling a little bit just grounded and connected, and so glad to share that with you guys. Okay, let's get started. My name is Lisa Sadowski. I am the founder of Life's Remission. Welcome to the 21 days of crystals, crystal heartenings. Today is day 11, our first master number here of the 21 days. And of course, we have tourmaline. So for those who have been here, I've been talking about the order of these crystals that they were given to us. It's just a beautiful process. We've been working a lot in the wind energy and the spirit energy. Basically, that means we've been working more on the mental, opening up the mental to allow the spiritual aspect to come through, and getting deeper in that connection. So today is actually the first day that we have a straight earth functioning. So the other day we had Septarian that had each of the different elements, because Septarian is actually a collaboration of crystals, if you will. And so it works, all those crystals work together and they cover all the elements. But today is our first straight earth element stone. So we're going to be working more in the physical. The earth element is more involved with the physical, even the digestive tract, and kind of like how we convert this energy throughout our body, or the low, I should say, the lower chakras. It's right below that area. So we'll talk a little bit about that. We'll talk about the different colors and some of their aspects. But basically we've got some good info coming through. All right. So as you can see in the picture, that is the larger of the back one. There is this one. And the colorations that you can see in there, kind of the red. I'll show you guys for that don't have the pictures. This isn't a picture that I'm showing on the other live stream or StreamYard. These red inclusions here, and even like a little bit of white in there. You can see a little bit of sparkle. That is mica. And it is in what's called the matrix. It is all grows together, usually. You'll notice it looks very similar to selenite, which I believe is also a type of mica as well. I'm not quite sure about that. I don't remember. But so for some of the more stones that are closer to the matrix, you'll see some of this coloration. You got little iron in there to create that red color. And then you could see, though, just kind of the flakiness. You could see it's shiny, but it's actually because these are actually flakes. So and that creates these striations in the stone itself. You can see all that beautiful. So I actually picked this one because of the mica. I kind of like to see the matrix. I like to see how these grow. So here is what might be considered maybe a higher quality one. You can see that it's more solid black, a little bit more shiny. More of the striations are visible, right? And that's not polished. That's the natural tourmaline, what it does. You can see the bottom where it kind of broke off. It doesn't have those clear striations versus the top, right? A little bit of mica right there here as well. So, and even at the edges, you can see it's a very interesting stone. They kind of just grow in long, fibrous kind of, see if it gets that, fibrous kind of ways. I had mentioned that yesterday we covered selenite, which is one that I use for clearing energy, and that I said I would take it on an island. This is probably the other one I would take. It's a great absorber of negative energy in a room. So I always keep this in throughout my house. I actually grid my house with crystals. I do consulting for that as well. So basically what we're doing is looking for the energy in a room and to see what crystals need to be placed where. You can practice a bit of feng shui, but really what I found is some of the crystals, because of the multiple elements that each of the crystals have, it varies on the personality and what you're trying to achieve. So I definitely can assist with that. But typically, if I do put, wherever I do put the tourmaline, see, it's already kind of breaking apart. Wherever I do put the tourmaline, I do make sure to either move it and clear it very often, or I place it next to, I thought I brought it. Well, I have the big piece of selenite, but here, like a selenite stone, right? This is what we talked about yesterday. I kind of just set them next to each other to allow it. Remember, I talked about clearing the energy in some of these crystals. So this one, wherever I place it throughout the house, I do make sure and have some selenite there. That's basically how I charge a lot of my crystals and keep them clear. But, you know, saging a room or using essential oils that are clearing, Palo Santo is really good. That's a good way to clear the crystals as well. But these are great absorbers of negative energy. The good thing about that is it assists with the energy in the room. Bad thing about it is if you don't clean up your room after a while and you gather a lot of dust on it, this starts collecting a lot of energy, and after a while you kind of need to clean it, just clear it, to allow it, number one, to absorb more whatever other negative energy may come into it, but also just to make sure, and you want to keep these babies happy. They're still, you know, when they're in the ground, there's still live energy, right? They're still live beings. It's a living entity, a living energy. And there's a lot of dispute about taking it from the ground and removing it from its natural place in the first place, right? We've done a lot of questionable mining of some of these stones. And so that's partly why a lot of this clearing, when we get them, we want to impart our own energy into them, show a really depth of gratitude, and also assist in making it almost like a flourishing atmosphere for them, right? they're always doing so much work for us. The least we can do is offer something to kind of keep them nice and clean and clear. Bare minimum we could do, right? So just being aware that, you know, wherever it came from, whatever it went through, and imagine the tons of years that it went through to actually be created. You know, there's a lot of life that and memories of it that exist within it. So create an environment that is actually a sanctuary for them, just as much as we're asking for that energy for us. And when we do that, you'll actually find, I found with some quartz crystals and some other stones, they will actually continue to grow in some circumstances, right? They also can break. We'll talk a little bit about that. They can break off. They can split in some ways. Sometimes with no seeming energy or force, all of a sudden they just kind of break apart. Keep in mind is because they are, we call it taking a hit, right? Even the ones that are not meant to absorb negative energy, sometimes they do take a hit for us, an energetic hit, and you'll hold them and they just kind of collapse. So maybe we can get into a little bit about, let me just write that down right now. Breaking, oops. Stones that break. All right, so yeah, that's just some ways to kind of keep these puppies clear. So let's talk about, okay, so they actually are pyro and piezoelectric. So typically when we think about that, we think about quartz, right? Quartz are used in watches and computers. We use the quartz crystals to actually for an electric charge or for a heat charge. So when you actually apply pressure to a tourmaline stone, obviously pretty hardcore pressure, or you kind of rub it, you can actually create a charge to where almost like a battery, you have a positive and negative charge on it. So these are used in pretty interesting situations as well. But again, from a scientific standpoint, they're pretty multifunctional. So again, on an island, I would want to have some of this. So they are pyroelectric, which is heating and cooling. Basically, you heat it up and cool it down to create some electric energy. And then and rubbing or pressure creates the, the pyro, what did I say? The piezoelectric and pyroelectric, sorry. Piezoelectric, I can never say that. So depending on which part you do, you can actually get that reaction out of it as well. It can be used to regulate electrical and other energetic systems of the body. So keep in mind that we have an energetic charge within our bodies, and then there's an electromagnetic field on the earth that exists. This is basic science, right? And so how we interact with the earth, when we talk about grounding, literally we are like a grounding plug in a, you have the two plugs in the electric for the electricity. We're talking about actually grounding an element of ourselves. So this actually assists with that, with being that ground into the earth to balance out our electromagnetic aspect of ourselves. This comes in handy because when it comes to healing, we want to make sure that that's in balance. And if we have constant friction going on, that's where we can get dis-ease and we can get a lot of, it'll manifest in a physical way. So this is also called Schorl. I can never say it. It's Schorl. It's another name for black tourmaline, that is, right? But the Schorl is black. But we have it in pink, in red, in green, watermelon, which is actually like a light or green in the middle, and then even a little yellow, like literally like a slice of watermelon. It's green in the middle. I had a piece and somebody borrowed it and I didn't get it back. It's okay, it happens. You have green in the middle and then, green on the outside, red in the middle, and a little bit of yellow in between. It almost looks like a rind when you get a really good quality watermelon tourmaline. So there's actually that color as well. There's blue, which is indicolite, I think it's called. We have a golden tourmaline, another one that I have, and I just couldn't find it, that's all. And then we have, we actually have a purple tourmaline, which I have. So this is purple tourmaline right here. Still got those striations, obviously a little bit more expensive, so it's a tinier piece. So you guys can see that. Look, small pieces, what I'm going to say. Let's see, right? But you could see the formation is the same, just different coloration of it. Really beautiful stone. This is a lighter, kind of a lavender purple. And then hopefully this will come across, but believe it or not, you can see how dark this is, right? This is actually green tourmaline. I don't know if you can see the, yeah, you can kind of see some of the green. They're really dark, dark green. See if you guys can see that. Yeah, it comes through. It's really cool. I have another one. Maybe this one will show a little bit more green. Let's see. No, I think that other one's got the best. Or you can kind of see some green. It's almost greenish yellow, but see how beautiful that is. So it's got very many different personalities to it. Again, you still see some of that mica in there, right? You still see some of that other matrix involved in it. But it's still, you can see how it's very rough on either end because of how it grows. It grows just kind of through little tubes, if you will. Okay. So that's a little show and tell. So I mentioned when we have these crystals in our homes, they actually prevent or assist with kind of psychic protection against attachments, entities, energetic debris. That's kind of like like I mentioned yesterday, if you have a crazy day, you kind of feel a little bit like you picked up some stuff when you were walking around. And so it's another great clearer of energy. The selenite does it by bringing in the light energy to come through. Tourmaline actually does it by absorbing that energy into the stone. Okay. So again, you could see why it'd be important to keep this clear, to keep this stone clear. They're just basically like, I call them like a vacuum cleaner. They just are constantly sucking that energy out, not sucking the energy, but they're basically like absorbing the negative energy that we don't really want and the debris that's out there, clearing out negativity, anxiety, anger, unworthiness, really helps with that. And it transmutes. So this is more of a transmuter and purifies negative energy into usable energy. Okay, so again, with this earth energy we're talking about that this stone represents, we're now talking about alchemical creations here. We're talking about manifesting that which is spirit, bringing it into the body and transmuting it into usable energy. And this is where the tourmaline really assists with that. So this is really, for me, this is a big thing for tourmaline, which is really powerful. It's good at grounding you. So it's good at, like, if you're feeling a little bit lightheaded, if you're feeling dizzy, again, kind of up in this area, and we want to just ground you into the earth. We don't want to bring you down. We just want to ground into the foundational, that support mechanism of feeling of earth, right? So this is an excellent stone. It feels, I could say heavy by nature because this stone is actually very heavy for this. I mean, it's a bigger stone, but it is a heavier stone. So it's got that beautiful, just kind of like protective grounding energy in a neutral environment, though. So that's where, if you're somewhere where you have a lot of negative energies or that kind of stuff that needs to be clear, that's what it does. However, if you're in a neutral environment, you're somewhere that doesn't really need that. It's kind of up and up. Everything seems pretty good. It actually gives high levels of purification. So it's actually purifying kind of some of the higher chakras as well, and elevates your consciousness. So it's an well, all these crystals are intelligent, but it's an intuitive stone in that if the priority is to, make sure and clear out any of this energy, then it goes right for that and it starts absorbing. If it is in a positive energy, a positive situation, then it knows to kind of uplift even further. So it kind of raises the bar, if you will. Like I mentioned, I had slept with one under my pillow last night. So when you do that, it gives you a refreshing purification can happen overnight. So as you're in your dreams, or if you had a crazy day, put a piece of tourmaline under your bed, under your pillow, or just next to your bedside, and have that intention. So when I say put these under your pillow and do that stuff, we want to connect with them in far as setting an intention for what you would like them to do, right? We are free will sovereign beings. So when we are in these situations and we bring them into our field, it's not enough to just like look at it and go, okay, fix me, right? We actually want to connect and set an intention for what we're asking for. This is where it kind of enacts an action on that part, or a communication, I should say, to that wisdom and connection to that wisdom. So if we actually have one, you put it under your bed and you set that intention to just kind of like clear out your psychic, anything that might be coming through. If some of you are having nightmares or that kind of things, these are excellent as a protector, a protective feeling overnight, to keep under your bed. Just like I said, make sure that the next morning you put it by a piece of selenite, lay it on some Himalayan salt. Again, this is another one you don't want to leave, at least not in the raw form, in water. Water is an excellent purifier and clearer of these stones, but only of the stones that can be put in water. Most quartzes can be put in water, but anything that has like cavities in them or anything like that, you don't want the water to get in. A lot of these have been in the elements of water anyway. It's not like they won't survive. But what happens is when we have them and they're not in their living state, or at least they're not in the ground where they're actually growing like they originally did, right? The water can actually penetrate, if it can penetrate into, especially in here, you could see some of the holes. Which one was it? This one? I think it was this one. You can see some of the crevices in there, right? And if water gets in there, and then the change in temperature, see if I can get that for you guys. Just not wanting to show it. Water gets in there, expands and contracts with the heat in the room, and it'll kind of just break apart that way. So hence we don't want to use water with these puppies. So like I said, a piece of selenite, or if you don't have selenite, a little bowl of Himalayan salt for a couple of hours is really good. Excuse me. And then, or moonlight. Sunlight is also a great charger and clearer. But for stones that are photosensitive, meaning the sun will actually like affect the coloration of it, like the green tourmaline, I think would be affected, but the black tourmaline, I've never seen it be affected by the sun. It's so deep. But some of the lighter colors of the tourmaline could be photosensitive. So you may not want to leave. That doesn't mean you can't leave it in the sun. I just wouldn't leave them out too long. As well, the moonlight is probably the most safe for all of the stones. You can leave them out overnight if you have a full moon, depending on how you feel about that. Some people don't resonate with the moon energy, so they'd rather not do it that way. So just a few options for cleaning and clearing your stones. Okay, so in this neutral environment, when we're in an environment where you don't have a lot of things to really clear out or anything like that, and the room is feeling pretty good, it actually does an etheric cleansing in all dimensions of your etheric body and even into the physical body. So just to kind of break this down as best I can for those who actually don't follow that mindset of the etheric bodies and the physical body versus the physical, what's the difference? All the etheric body is the way you can imagine it is when we talk about someone passing on and passing out of body, when someone has passed away and they've made the transition out of body, they're going to tap into an etheric aspect of their self. There are many etheric bodies, like by definition, there's many levels, if you want to call it that, but it's basically referring to an aspect of ourselves that we can tune into to come out of body when we're in our dream state. Some people do some astral traveling, meaning a little bit out of body as well. So this stone is actually excellent for cleansing in all dimensions. So when we go out of body, I'm going to get a little bit woo-woo on you all for a second, okay? Imagine when someone has passed away and you feel their presence. Maybe you get a sign from them, or maybe you just feel like a memory of them has come through. Why is that? Well, the unique energetic blueprint that each of us has, or each of us are, exists out beyond the limitations of the physical body. And so when we release that body, when we release that mortal coil, and we go into this field of of oneness, which we have and can access here. But when we completely release the body, we are completely in the ethereal at this point, the ethers, if you will. Many words for that as well, but this is just the best way to kind of explain it right now. So when we have the capacity to tune into that aspect of ourselves in this body now. So we have the capacity. Think of when you're in your dream state and you're really, really, you wake up and you feel like you've really had a really deep experience. It actually felt real, but you know that it wasn't in this dimension, in this existence, right? There's an aspect of yourself that is searching to expand and to grow and to develop. And it's constantly evolving. It's constantly looking and seeking and expanding and looking for all this information. It's up to us at a soul level whether we integrate it into this body, but those other aspects still exist. And so that's the part that we tune into when someone passes on or they leave. When we're connected to the essence of someone and they make their transition, we can still connect to that energy. So understand that you are that energy right now. You have that capacity. You have that etheric aspect of yourself right in this very moment. So just like we want to clear our physical aura, what we call it, some people call it physical aura, physical body though, we want to clear that etheric body as well, because there's different, like I mentioned, there's different levels of this. So we want to make sure that we're just kind of keeping that all on the up and up. This is why sometimes we're just unexplainable. We don't know why all of a sudden we just have this, we just don't feel good. And I'm not talking about just from a physical standpoint. Something feels heavy and it just doesn't feel right. It could be from an etheric aspect of ourselves that's doing some other work or just tuned into something that isn't great or expanding in a way that we're not aware of. And so the great thing about a stone like this is it allows us to have that activity still exist. There's multiple dimensions, multiple aspects of ourselves that exist. So this allows us to kind of clear that out with intention when we set the intention of doing that. So again, if you don't resign to these beliefs or this information, then that won't be for you to grab onto. It's all good. But for those of you who are open to that, those of you who are interested in learning more about that, know that this is assisting with that connection, number one, to that etheric body, that etheric self, bringing more awareness to that, clearing it. So you have to be aware of it in order to know that we want to intend to clear it, clearing it, and then even allowing for an expansion of it. So, and then even into the physical body. So the reason that we want to stay in tune with that is because that which we have the intention of at any dimension, depending on where our focus is at, that which wherever our attention goes is where energy flows. So if there's an aspect to ourself that is having some major energetic war with, I don't know, somebody that's really affecting our psyche or whatever it might be, that can manifest into the physical body. That can actually reveal itself in the physical body. The way we connect with the etheric, this out of body experience, the way we connect with that, I mentioned, is crystal heartenings through the heart, right? This is how we connect through that. But the heart is what? It's basically emotions. It's energy in motion, but it's in emotion. And so when we're in different emotional states, if we are in some lower vibrational emotional states for a really long time or a consistent time, i.e. depression, a lot of fear, anxiety, and all that kind of stuff, this can manifest in the physical. And for those of you who have been going through all of this year and having a really tough time with dealing with it all, think about some of the physical things that have manifested over the course of this year as the stress levels have gone up, right? Our energetic body is being attacked. Our etheric body is being hit a little bit. And though it manifests in the physical in the form of dis-ease. So it's really important to be aware of the other bodies outside of this physical body that contribute to this experience. And the best way to do that is to tune into our emotions. This is what's affecting the field. Because again, out of body, there is no language. There is no color of skin because we have no skin. There's none of that to kind of refer to. All that it is the language of emotion. And actually, it's not even emotion. For some of the really deep experiences I've had, there's not even a word for it. You can't even call love love. It just simply is an expression that exists and that we kind of participate in this body. And we call it love, we call it joy, we call it peace. But when we are in that out-of-body experience, when we're tapping into these higher realms, at that point, we're no longer concerned with language or identities or ego or any of that. None of that exists there. So there's a delta between the etheric experience, obviously, and the physical experience. However, they are correlated and connected. So these stones help to kind of bring that into correlation with each other. Hopefully that made sense there. Like I said, grounding, it's a grounder. It creates a grounding circuit with this earth shifting electromagnetic field. So I think I talked about that already. But again, everything here is about balance. All that we're talking about is getting into a state of stasis, of balance. And I think I shared yesterday something about the concept of dynamic balance. I think I read it. Matter of fact, I want to read that again because it was really profound. Was it yesterday? I don't even know what day of the week it was anymore. Maybe it wasn't. It was a couple days back. My goodness. Wow, it was a few days back. We're talking about labradorite. Was it that? Oh yeah, here we go. No, I don't know where it went. But the concept was, one of those days that we were talking about, the concept was dynamic balance, which means it's an ever-shifting experience, this concept of balance. And you always hear me talking about looking at things from a holistic approach, looking at things from a sustainable viewpoint. When I'm integrating things into my lifestyle now, I wasn't always doing this, but now it's a habit that I'm asking, is this something that will become, that I know I'm able to maintain, and that I'm able to incorporate as a lifestyle change? So when we talk about diets or we talk about physical things that we do for the body, and we wonder why we're yo-yoing back and forth between things, it's because we're looking for a quick fix, typically, and there's a little bit more work to be done to integrate it. So if we take things, this is why we want to go step by step, in alignment with the concept of the holistic approach. The holistic approach is not a quick fix. The holistic approach says, if you have a headache, what is the root cause of that headache? And while I can assist with something with that headache for now, that would be just a Band-Aid. What is it that will assist with the root cause of what that happens so that the headache doesn't come back again? Okay, so that's a literal expression of a pain in the body. But we talk about habits that we have, depression, and these are habits that are learned in the body to a certain extent. Again, we're not blaming ourselves for anything, okay? This is just when we're looking at something like this, like depression in particular, we've created a neural pathway to repeat a certain pattern that brings us into that state, that brings us into that moment of depression, anxiety, whatever it may be. If we can, little by little, and a lot of times if people are really deep into any of these states of depression, anxiety, etc., let me be clear, there are times when we need to do whatever we can take to get to a stable footing. So there are many things that we need a quick fix. We need something to get us by, just to stabilize. And if we do that with the understanding, though, because here's where it gets a little crazy, we start doing these things for the long run. We start doing these Band-Aids in our life to just get by. We use certain mechanisms to make us feel high or a little buzzed or feel whatever it is for that second, but the root cause underneath has never been dealt with. And I understand, and I know firsthand that it can seem overwhelming to actually go into the root cause of it. But the reality is that it's even more overwhelming to continue to loop all the time by putting Band-Aid and Band-Aid and Band-Aid upon an open wound that just has no intention of healing. So if we can look at something when we integrate it into our life as, is this something that I can really make as a lifestyle change? For example, if say you were not drinking enough water in the day, right? And you know that you've just had a really bad problem with this. You just, no matter what you try, I've heard somebody say, I hate the taste of water, which is so, I'm so sorry. But they're like, I just literally hate the taste of water. Okay, in all reality, if you set the goal of drinking like 80 ounces a day of water, it's just not realistic to think that it would happen overnight, that it's going to be done every day. However, if you went way to the opposite extreme and just said, okay, what could I promise myself that I could do every single day? And I would not even have to think about it. It would just be integrated into my life. What could I commit to? And sometimes it's so much as like, I've done this before with certain things. I can commit to an ounce of water a day. That's all I can do. That's all I got. But I know that I can say that ounce per day, I'm going to be religious about it. I'm going to do it no matter what. Just a tiny little bit, right? And then it's so ridiculous. Like, get ridiculous with how small it is, right? So an ounce a day, you're drinking that ounce. You're like, just give me 2 ounces. This is ridiculous. Just give me some more. But what's happening is you're setting a neural pathway up to where you're training that brain to be used to being okay with this water coming into your system, right? And you're seeing the benefits. You're just starting to entrain yourself. It's 2 ounces and it's 3 ounces, but you're not committing to anything more than what you know you could follow through with to build that sense of confidence. What happens when you do that is, again, the neural pathways are being created, but also you're establishing a foundational principle as to of following through, of actually seeing something through. And it's rewarding. The reward center of the brain is actually tapping into that and actually it wants to do more now. Like, okay, wait, an ounce was super easy. Let me do 2 ounces. And wait, that was super easy. Let me try 3. And eventually it may take 2 months to get to the 80 ounces. It may take 3 months. Whatever is realistic for your particular experience, go all the way to especially for something that's really, really difficult to break, right? Go all the way to the left with something that you know is not a big deal. It's probably ridiculous, but do it anyway and do it consistently. And you'll be amazed, because what happens is the holistic approach starts kicking in. The body says, oh, she's giving me an ounce of water. That's a little bit, but at least I can use it to assist the heart. Right now, the priority is the heart's really suffering from dehydration. So whenever she gives the ounce of water, I'm going to give it to the heart. And then as you add a little bit more and more, it says, okay, well, the heart's taken care of. Let's move to the liver. And it starts functioning on the liver. And now you're doing like 10 ounces a day. And it's like, whoa, 10 ounces. Now we can really splurge, right? This is the intuitive nature of the human body. I'm being extreme with it, but believe me, I have people who have actually done that. I've actually done 1 ounce a day because it's just so bad and so difficult. But because there's something that happens when we're able to get the reward center of the brain to feel like it's accomplished something. The same can be applied to different aspects of our lives. So when we talk about stones like this, and we're talking about the energy that they're imparting and they're bringing in, there's a very intuitive nature with each of these stones that they're aware of that. They're aware of what we can handle. This transmission of these 21 days here, the intention was set that you would receive that which was yours to receive. And those who open their hearts and their minds to this would get exactly was for them and to serve their greater good. So you're getting exactly what you need. This is a very intuitive universe, and it's not going to give you anything more. Like they say, you won't receive more than you can handle. So we can incorporate that into our lives as well. But back to the concept of from a holistic standpoint, when we're looking at rooting into the ground and getting that foundational feeling, now when we feel grounded and we tap into now these higher vibrational stones, these ones that are kind of doing more of a heady experience, it becomes a more easeful experience. It becomes a more just, there's more grace that's allowed and intertwining in with it. So that's just something that really comes to mind here. Okay, I'm going a little bit long here. Okay, so I went over the colors. The black is the earth energy. The black tourmaline is more the earth energy, functioning more around the bottom, the lower chakras. And then the pink, which I do not have pink, is more of a water energy. I went over these different energies, these elements yesterday, so you can go back to day 10 and kind of review this. The red is more a combination of water and earth. Green is water, so that's this one right here is the water energy. Watermelon, that one I stuck up that has green and then red in the middle, is water. And then blue is, of course, water and wind. Gold is a water energy. Brown is called dravite. It's a really powerful stone, that one, is earth and spirit. And then you actually have terminated quartz. So you'll see, like I mentioned, these striations. You'll actually see, I have a piece of that. I don't know why I didn't bring it, inside of the clear quartz. That one is a really beautiful one. I should probably, it's actually got the grounded energy with the high vibration of the quartz as well. It's a pretty powerful stone. And you can find some low-grade terminated quartz for not that expensive, because there's actually less tourmaline in it than a solid piece. So if you can't afford like a big chunk or something, you can get like a little palm piece of the terminated quartz. Some of the stones that go with it. I've not been covering all these and all the other stones, but it's pretty easy. Basically, any other black stone will work well with this. But in particular, hematite, which they have magnetic hematite as well. Again, for that grounding, a really deep grounding. So if you're really feeling, for those who are lightheaded, dealing with, what is it when you can't keep your balance as well, hematite is excellent for that with some tourmaline as well. But some of the ones that go are jet, obsidian, black andradite, smoky quartz, sugilite, charoite, and amethyst. So the darker stones, the black, the purples, the deep purples, work really well with that as well. Oh, and then from a physical standpoint, it does actually help purify body of toxins and wastes, and it supports cleansing of heavy metals and environmental pollutants. It's really good for EMF stuff. So if you have your computers or a lot of like electromagnetic frequencies, cell phones and Wi-Fi, that kind of stuff, I always place either shungite, which we are not covering this 21 days, but shungite, either shungite or tourmaline are excellent for that. Again, though, make sure you're clearing that, especially when it's absorbing all that. People are concerned about sometimes about 5G, et cetera. These kind of help to just facilitate some of that as well. Okay, so let's look into, for those who have been here already, we've been asked by Spirit to go into higher, deeper, and wider with each of these stones. What that means is, now that we have a concept of what the stone and what's kind of everybody else has been talking about, how can we go higher, deeper, and wider with understanding what these stones are here to do? So true to form with Spirit, with each of those words, higher, deeper, and wider, it was asking that we actually tune into another term, because there are correlations that are made with some of these terms. When you say the word higher, for example, typically people think of a hierarchy or like a certain order that things are in, and we start kind of like valuing in different ways. So instead of thinking of, we could still refer to the concept of going higher, turning into a higher aspect of ourselves. But it asks, in order to really like look into this, what you consider the word release, and asking what can be released so that more may be revealed. What is it that we can let go of so that more may be revealed about the true essence of what we're here for? And so sometimes we try and tune into that higher aspect and we can't understand why we're not able to get there. We're not able to get to that high. Why, with all the drugs and wine and whatever it is that we put in our bodies, we still have this high and low experience, right? It's like a funky wave. So the reason is because there are things to be released. This physical body, while we are ever expansive beings by nature, when we tune into that etheric aspect of ourselves, in this physical body, there are the 5 senses that limit us to a certain extent. And so we want to release the things, the thought patterns that are not serving us, so that we can make more room for thought patterns that do and that serve our greatest and highest good. So, so it's asking, so what can be released so that more may be revealed? So the way that Tourmaline works to assist with that and helps us with this concept of release is that it's actually giving us that foundational feeling of rooting and tapping into this grounded nature about ourselves, which allows us to rest in this feeling of being protected, being taken care of. A lot of times, the reason that we don't want to release is because fear has actually arisen, and we attach that fear to whatever it is that we want to release. So this tourmaline is here to give us that remind us of that security that we already are, remind us of the safety that is already within us. And when we feel that rooted, grounded space, we actually, that's when we can go higher. It sounds counterintuitive, but the reality is that when we release these heavier, denser things, this is when we can tune into that higher nature. So that's how Tourmaline can help with that. And then when we look at, so that was higher, looking into the concept of deeper. So when we're going into the deeper aspect, Spirit says, okay, well, instead of thinking of deeper, people think lower, right? And think bad, or we have whatever the connotation would be that sometimes. Or even thinking deeper, some people think it's heavy, or like it's too much to go into. It seems overwhelming. So instead, if we can consider the word rooted, so when we're thinking of that deeper, going deeper into something, and instead of getting sidetracked by, you know, what we think it might mean, consider the concept of being rooted and ask yourself the question, what truth is calling for deeper embodiment? What is it that wants to rise up so that it will actually integrate into our body at a deeper level? So again, this is where Tourmaline really assists with that grounded energy, kind of helping us feel rooted, right? Gives us that feeling of being supported, and allows us to kind of tap into, like, pretty much once we kind of look at that higher aspect and we're pulling back from that perspective, then we know what it is that wants to be released. And then we look at that thing that wants to be released, and we realize there's something else that actually wants to come up and actually be more in our field and be more in our awareness and actually embodied and integrated into the body. So this is where Tourmaline assists with that. The way that Tourmaline assists with this is in giving us that rooted experience and tapping into this, like I said, physically. If you want to talk about from this physical experience, it literally connects us to that electromagnetic field and gets us in balance with that, so that the information that's coming through, the source energy that is, the source wisdom that is coming through to us, we are in a grounded state to receive it and allow whatever wants to reveal itself to not be surrounded in covered up in a blanket of fear, and actually allow us to look into that truth. So when I say truth, I'm referring to the truth with a capital T, the stuff that sometimes we really don't want to look at. So, so that's higher. And then we want to go deeper. This is how Tourmaline can assist us with that. And then wider. So when we're talking about wider, sometimes we're looking at things from a perspective of, like, from our physical eyes, what we can see. And in this human body, our perspective is limited. I don't have eyes on the back of my head, so I can't see from that perspective, right? In this physical body. But when we tune into the higher aspect of ourselves, a deeper aspect of ourselves, then we allow the revelation of more information to come through. And so instead of looking at the concept of wider, we want to use the word inclusion, meaning, what is it that wants to be brought into my field that I may have been narrow-minded about? What is it that I just need to open my perspective about a little bit more to allow within my field, so that it can assist with my spiritual and expansion and ascension? So when we talk about what opening wants to occur, right? This is the heart area. Again, I speak about this a lot, like tapping into our sovereignty, tapping into that strength that exists within right from the heart area. We physically focus on that area in our bodies. So this is asking, like, what opening wants to occur in order to assist with my spiritual expansion? What is it that's been hovering around my field? What is it when I go higher and deeper, it comes up to the surface and I'm trying to push out of my resistance? I'm sometimes even in complete denial about. These are typically the things that we have cut out of our existence. We just know by all reasonable doubt that this is something that is evil, that is horrible, and is just the worst thing on the earth. The reality is that while we don't want to live in those vibrations, we don't want to sit in that space, everything has a noble cause. Everything. So even those heavier, denser energies that many people are just like, I can't do it, I don't want that in my field. There is a time when we need to put those boundaries up, because we need to go within and heal ourselves. But again, like I mentioned before, the goal is to get ourselves to that stasis, to get ourselves to that grounded space where we can now look outside of our normal, our normal little bubble, and expand and expand to a greater standpoint. But if we don't actually allow this information to come into our field, if we completely lock it out of our field, we're missing an opportunity for lessons and blessings. Again, I'm not talking about living in this space of sadness, depression, and any of these things that we've shoved out of our existence. I'm just saying that there's an aspect of it that keeps coming into our field and we keep pushing it away. Understand that it's going to keep coming because there's a lesson or a blessing, always a blessing as far as I understand, but most people, not all people can see it as a blessing. There's always a lesson or a blessing trying to come at you. And the more we resist, right, the more it persists. So why not just take a look at it? So it's asking what opening wants to occur in order to assist with my spiritual expansion and ascension. There's a little hint, typically starts in the heart area. Okay, it starts with your emotions. So if we ask these questions, and how Tourmaline can help with that. Again, by getting this grounded nature, by tuning us into this, literally physically into this magnetic field and balancing, get us into a state of a beautiful balance. By absorbing that negative energy that might be outside of us and giving us a break from the friction of feeling that negative energy, and instead getting that grounded experience, we're feeling a little bit stronger, we're feeling a little bit more stabilized, and we're more willing to kind of look a little bit deeper. We don't want to do this when we're unstable. We don't want to do this when we are in a state that is outside of that connected center energy, right? We really want to do this when we're connected to that space of sovereignty, when we know who we are and we're tapped into that true strength of what exists within us. This is when we can do this deeper work. So the entrainment that is happening, if you will, right now with each of these days is getting us in the habit of practicing this on the daily. Every day that you're here with me, we're doing the meditations. We're just entraining this practice in to get what it's like to go higher, deeper, wider, to see how these stones, if some of them resonate with you and some of them don't, see if some of them call out to you and want to assist. And as long as you're open to it, it will come to you, and it will come with ease and grace. So let's see. I always feel like a whirlwind after this stuff comes through. It's amazing. All right. Okay. This wants to sit on my lap for this meditation. So we're going to actually go into a meditation here. I didn't check my... Hey, Barbara. I got Barbara in the house. She loves the crystal terminology. Yeah. I don't know how much of it is really like accurate. Some of these are like Lisa-isms, I believe. Spirit-isms. Lisa Crystal Spirit-isms. I don't know. You know, especially like Heartenings, right? It's a heart opening that came through. That was definitely all spirit. Because even I was like, heartening? It doesn't make sense to me. Who's going to even get it? It's not a marketable word. Like, and I get it. I get it now. I understand what it's all about. So, yeah, what are you going to do? All right. Let's tune in and let's go into some beautiful meditation here. We're coming close to the hour. I'm really trying to keep you guys within it. I think the nice thing is I'm actually keeping most of it within the hour, and then at least the meditation is a little after effect. You know, you got a little thing to get you into the night. So what I'm getting right now, I'm just tuning in right now. It's just to kind of tune in. I'm getting just, I don't know if you're feeling this, but there's a really grounded energy that's coming through right now. To reflect on the fact, again, that we have spent the past 10 days more focusing on cleansing and clearing the mental and practicing that connection to spirit. Okay, so we've literally like been working out that muscle, okay, the connection between the mind and spirit. And we didn't have a lot of experience of kind of like really, really feeding it into the body. We are now going straight to the root. We're going all the way down into the root today with this earth energy. So Spirit's just asking to remember that practice that we've had over the past 10 days. And we're getting really good at it. I'm feeling it right now, kind of in the crown space. We're really good at it. We're really practiced at it. And so now is the time that we get to go really deeper. We get really rooted. And yesterday, we had the ancestors really come through and communicating with each of you, if you chose to be open to that communication. The reason they did that was to really complete part 2 today. So we're going to tap back into that ancestral energy. The ancients have actually kind of come forward. And I'm thinking of my beautiful soul family who is gathering tonight. I have a meditation circle that I do typically Thursday nights, but they're getting together tonight since Christmas falls where it does. And beautiful Sandra works with the ancients. She works with that energy. So that's probably why I'm feeling into this right now. When this energy comes through, it is very strong and very deep is the best word I can come up with. There just is no word for the power that exists with this group. So this high vibrational energy. They've been wanting to come through. They've been wanting to connect with each of you. Your particular ancestral lineages have been wanting to connect with you and have been leading up to this day. So if you don't have a tourmaline stone, you can kind of focus on the picture here. I'm actually going to make it a little bit bigger for those of you. And for those of you who are on Instagram, let me do this. Let me put these right here. See where I can put it in the best view. Hopefully you can kind of focus on that a little bit. And just kind of tune in. See if it'll sit there. I guess they will. Tune in to the wisdom of the ancestors. Tune into the deep, deep wisdom. And if you can't go that far, maybe tune into a loved one, to a wise one, if they're not your blood relative, somebody who you have has been a great teacher for you, a great spiritual avatar in your life. Or if you are any particular practicing religion and you have a specific avatar that you resonate with, ask them to come and assist with this connection by all means. So deep and grateful for all the highest celestial beings and celestial beings who have come to the table to assist us in this beautiful and deep communication. Feeling into the physical nature of this beautiful gift called life. This lifetime, this experience, all of it. All of it. The things which may have been perceived as dramas or traumas were beautiful gifts, individualized for you. There is an acceleration of an integrated journey. Is happening right now. And any dramas or traumas that may have come into your life are by your own definition as such. There too lies deep, deep, deep blessings. More love more peace, more joy than you could possibly imagine exists behind that experience. It was a gift of opening, and it's continuing to unfold. But know that it too was for your greatest and highest good. Always. Allowing the Christ consciousness energy, the light, during this time of year that many in the globe are connected to. Two planes colliding to create what would be perceived as a cross. Two planes of beautiful reality, light, emanating horizontally and vertically with a powerful energy center. That is you. Rings of magnificent energy are emanating from you, from this place, from this space, from this sacred beginning. There are lines and lines of ancestors. Infinity. Infinite rows of beautiful ancestral beings standing behind you. The highest love and light. As badly as you want to turn around and look at them, know that this wisdom can only be integrated. It cannot be seen, heard, felt, touched. There are no senses that can contain this wisdom. Imagine one row with all of your ancestors behind you, and imagine them all fanning out like a legion, here to support your greatest and highest good. You are protected. You are loved. You are protection. You are love. Imagine each of these beings one by one, whispering in your left ear or your right ear. Anything from little bits of wisdom, affirmations of truth, reminder after reminder of how powerful you are. Reminding you how deep, how important, how necessary your purpose is, your specific purpose. Imagine more and more of these beautiful beings just whispering in your ear, reminders of the truth of who you really are. Some of them may even embrace you from behind. All you are to do is receive. Just receive. You are so grateful and so thankful for all this, and you want to give them back, but this time is for you to just receive. They just keep coming. Some may actually come back for another visit. They get back in line and just want to get another little connection while they can. But just receive. Be the vessel for this beautiful wisdom to flow through and as spirit. Feel the experience of this ultra high vibrational wisdom coming from the top of our crown all the way through the body and grounding all the way embodied at every aspect, every cellular level. Our DNA is being upgraded, updated. These whispers are codes, codes of expansion, codes of ascension. You are ready for all of this. You are ready for all of this to be integrated into your body. What you're barely starting to see is you recognize that there's some fire, there's like flames. When you look closer, you realize that these are torches being passed to you. This wisdom that is being whispered in your ear, these whispers of these affirmations, they come with a transmutational aspect called fire. Fire has the capacity to transmute energy. And in this instance, it's taking old paradigms, and as the information is coming to you, it is getting purified, cleansed, and cleared. And to reveal the truth of what was meant to be from some of these old paradigms. You now hold the transmutational power to share that with others, to be the example, to be love, to be peace, to be joy, all of that which we wish for the world. Your only job is to be those things. With all this infinite wisdom coming into our beingness now, to some it could feel overwhelming, but you are such an expanded being. You can contain it all now. You can not only just contain it, you can use it. It's positive energy, positive action, right action. Your inner eye is able to see the truth behind some of the actions of our ancestors that may have not been looked upon in a very positive light. With this transmutative fire, we're able to cleanse and clear these activities and know that we can carry our bloodlines forward with pride, not the egoic pride we talk about, with a true, deep love, conviction, and connection to this lineage. You're a sovereign by nature. There's no need to be empowered. You are empowerment. There's no need to dream to the stars. You are a star. And all of them at once. As the ancestors fall back into their etheric states, they exit with such a deep gratitude. So grateful for your willingness to connect. Reminding you to keep that fire and that light going. The torch has been passed. No longer needing to look to others to guide what's next. You are the elder. So allow that to move through the body. We connect back into our physical bodies. We thank all the angelics, the ancestors, the ancients. The ascended masters and the highest beings of light who have been here to assist with this beautiful exchange of wisdom. We allow the remnants of that beautiful exchange to just move throughout our bodies and tuning into the energy of Tourmaline. Know that we are protected, we are safe. Knowing that all is well. And whenever you're ready, come on back, open your eyes. Move your feet, wiggle your fingers. And welcome back. It's always a beautiful exchange when the ancestors come through. And if some of you didn't feel much, if you didn't feel anything, that's okay. You can set the intention for them to come into your dream space. But the connections were made tonight. The information that was exchanged, there was so much There was so much coming through. So it may slowly reveal itself to you. It could be over the next couple of days. It could be over the next couple of years, but this is wisdom beyond this timeline. So again, if you didn't get much through it right now, it's okay. If you're interested, tune into your guides and ask them to assist you with that. And you'll be amazed at what comes through. So I thank you all for being here tonight. We've made it to day 11. We're officially past the halfway point of the 21 days. Y'all are some awesome warriors for all this. I'm just really, really grateful for all of you. I'm grateful that you are still here. Some of you are still here because this is some really beautiful information that's coming through. And to be honest with you, I really would have, I had resorted to being okay if even just one person got some of this information, because I understand there is a commitment here. Anyone who's done this work and you go in with this at this level, you know, you probably have a really good understanding of what's being asked of you. And so some people just aren't interested in seeing it through. So, and that's okay. It's completely okay. So that said, for those of you who are interested in doing this and are really committed to this journey, I thank you. You are necessary. And I just really, really appreciate you, because that's how we lift each other up. That's how we raise the human consciousness at a collective level. And you are all beautiful prayer warriors in your own right, whether you know that or not. Yeah, I'll just leave it at that. Thank you all. Have a wonderful night. Know that I am doing the gift certificates available. I didn't even do a plug. I do have gift certificates available for, I will be launching the, what I'm calling, well, Zenden Online will be the online shop to get all things like Sonomist, my sacred elixirs, stuff like that. Let's see if I can put up a little picture of all the goodies you guys can get from it. I will be doing a monthly membership where you can get a crystal of the month, an oil of the month. You can kind of customize what it is that you like. But I've got the sacred elixirs with a spray. I've got the straight essential oils and a roller ball as well. We've got the solid doTERRA oils that you can get from me. But basically, it's sovereign sanctuaries, sovereign sanctuary bundles that'll have all this good information for you to be able to create your own sanctuary wherever you are. That was the premise of how Sonomist was created. Was I was doing a lot of traveling and I wanted to have all the elements in the bottle. And before I knew it, Spirit told me how to do all that. I had no idea. I didn't even figure that out till later. So the beautiful energy that's gone into Sonomist is glad to share it with y'all. So, but anyway, that will be launching for the website for Zenden Online will be at the beginning of January. In the midst of all this, I cannot promise to get that website up before then. But I do have gift certificates available right now that will be redeemable. Actually, you can already buy Sonomist Sonomist and the doTERRA oils online from me. Actually, all those oils you can purchase from me right now. But the crystals and some of the other sanctuary aspects of it, we'll probably getting into that a little bit later. But at the beginning of the year, I should say, I'll have that all organized for you guys in bundles. But I'm really excited about it because you'll get, like you see, I'm kind of going into all these details about the crystals. I will actually be doing that with the oils. So every month, if you pick the oil, you'll get a bunch of information about the oils and how you can utilize them in your day-to-day life. You get some tips about that. Of course, you'll get the higher, deeper, wider with crystals as well. And then the Sonomist, parts of Sonomist formulas are actually customizable. There's crystals inside of them, so there's some limitations on some of the customization can be available as well. But we can put a new formulas together with your choice of essential oils, the crystals that are inside of it. We can really create your own experience there. So for now, sonomist.com has the Sonomist formulas, but I do have access to doTERRA. I guess I could put that all, it's just so much to do right now. So if some of this is kind of difficult to find, please excuse me. I'm literally transferring all my websites over to a new portal, a new platform, and specifically the shopping cart. So there's a little bit of bumpiness with the shopping cart. So you might be best off. Sonomist, I think you can order pretty well online, but the other aspects, please just DM me on Facebook, Instagram, any of these, and I'll get together for that. And as far as the gift certificates are concerned, it's a beautiful digital gift certificate. I don't think I have it in this file yet. I can maybe show you tomorrow. That'll be sent to you, personalized with the person's name and the amount. I start at $25 for the amounts for the gift certificates, and they're redeemable at thesonomist.com. Life's Remission, where I actually have coaching available, coaching services available, and I will be doing 90-day programs that are coming up as well. So know that that gift can be used for Life's Remission, Sonomist, and eventually that'll all be available on Online, which will just be a shop with all these things in one page. So there you go. I love you guys. Thank you guys for a great evening, and I'll see you tomorrow for day 12. Peace and blessings, y'all.